Respected Swamiji, dignitaries, delegates, and volunteers. Welcome you all to WHF conference in this beautiful city. The topic of my talk, as you know, is how to improve fiscal ecosystem of small and medium enterprise, it's called SMEs in Bharat. Traditionally, Indian SMEs have been facing severe shortage of funds and are unable to grow to their full potential. As we know that SMEs are the backbone of our economy and a major source of entrepreneurial innovation and skills, therefore, we must address this issue immediately. We'll explore some solutions here. There are about 50 million SMEs, including micro enterprises in India, manufacturing 6,000 products, employing 110 million people. All of them suffer one major problem, that is shortage of funds to run their businesses and also for their growth. If we can create a vibrant financial ecosystem, there will be exponential growth of SMEs and micro enterprises in India, and that can generate millions and millions of jobs. In fact, thousands of SMEs can migrate to next level and become medium and large businesses if they can have access to funds, which alone can add 12 lakh crores, which is 200 billion in revenue for our economy. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji's Make in India initiative will speed up growth of SMEs and add our GDP substantially only and only when SMEs can have timely and unhindered access of funds. I must add here that SME sector's lobbying and interaction with the highest level in government is very weak, almost lacking, as most of the industry associations in India focus on large and MNC companies. I sincerely hope WHEF will focus on SME sector and fill this gap. This can be our USP. The development of SME sector is crucial to ensuring balanced growth and shared prosperity. They have been playing a pivotal role in countries' overall economic growth. They account for a significant proportion of manufacturing and exports, creating around 1.3 million jobs per year, employing about 60 million people. SME sector contributes 40% of India's total exports and 8% of India's GDP. This sector contributes significantly to poverty alleviation, and therefore government must give top priority to develop this sector. India's GDP is expected to touch 8.5% and will exceed USD 5 trillion economy in near future. SME segment has the potential to emerge as an engine for growth, given the right set of support and enabling framework. Its contribution to GDP can increase from 8.5 to 15%. It can increase employment by 50%, doubling the current SME workforce of 160 million across all sectors, including agriculture. From the pyramid, तुम कर दो From the pyramid, you will notice that availability of funds is the biggest hurdle and is the topmost priority for SMEs. While there are other issues to tackle, but today we will talk about access to funds for this sector. Let's take infrastructure for SME funding. Indian banks, mainly the public sector, has been the cornerstone of SMEs. Financing infrastructure will continue to be the major source of financing in future as well. The next step is the strengthening of infrastructure and increasing its penetration into rural areas. RBI has taken steps by mandating new banks to set up 25% of its branches in rural areas, as well as increase the limits of loans to micro and SME under priority sector. This would provide boost to SME lending. However, conventional sources like bank finance have their limitations. India has started SME exchanges, BSE, SME Exchange, and NSE Emerge, to address these concerns, but the information asymmetry results in lower investor confidence and consequently has limited impact. This is where bond market could be a better alternative. While households have one of the highest savings in the world, which are parked in bank, deposits, gold, and real estate, with almost negligible investment in corporate bonds, SME bond market is expected to have huge potential. But it requires strong, dynamic regulatory environment which instills confidence in the investor. Let's take financing products and guarantee schemes. Apart from traditional products of cash credit, term loans, bill discounting, packing credit, one must resort to innovative products like factoring, reverse factoring, SME collective bonds, SME IPO without book building process. Furthermore, a separate vertical in banks can be set up, which would be mandated to provide finance to SME at a lower rate by borrowing through external commercial borrowings. To address information-related issues, one option can be extensive use of credit score model. Another option can be use of credit rating and due diligence services offered by credit rating agencies. To address the perception of high risk associated with SMEs requiring high-level collaterals, government has implemented Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for micro and small enterprises, under which collateral-free loans up to certain limits are given to them. But there is a need to increase this limit considering the current market's prices and necessary push to lending bodies. Talking about regulatory bodies, the absence of single countrywide tax policy, intellectual properties, slow judiciary system and redressal forums, labor laws, absence of a wholesome bankruptcy system are the key impediments of growth. While GST and new bankruptcy code can solve a number of issues, there is a need to resolve other issues as well, particularly the labor. Another component of financial ecosystem is debt resolution and management. Presently, there is no specific debt recovery guidance of SMEs, which becomes a key hurdle in recovery of sick units. Unlike large corporates, which have flexibility to sustain over a longer period of time during financial crisis, SMEs with low capitalization require quick debt restructuring to sustain over a longer period. Thus, for improvement of SME financial ecosystem, one needs a separate vertical in financial institutions and corporate debt restructuring empowerment group, which should be targeted for faster processing of SME cases. We can also look at some other solutions. RBI can create an IT-enabled platform to track SME receivables to facilitate securitization of these trade receivables. Give credit guarantee support for SMEs to non-financing finance companies, non-banking. Another issue faced by SMEs is delayed payments from large companies, which causes extreme hardship for this sector. Suitable solutions needs to be found for this. The last and most important component of financing ecosystem is awareness program. Information related to various schemes, programs, institutions, products, and policies must be easily available to SMEs at one point. Awareness programs must be undertaken by industry associations and government bodies to ensure that its benefits reaches a wider scale. In conclusion, growth of SME is the key for a balanced and sustainable growth of Bharat. India's SME segment is well equipped to grow, and fundamental drivers are in right place, and hence continued empowerment of SMEs will enable them to attain high and sustainable growth in long run. And to ensure a continuous growth, the financial ecosystem of SMEs should keep pace with their needs from time to time. Thank you. Jai Hind.